Hi everyone, this is my presentation on CSS pseudo class and pseudo elements. First, we are going to talk about pseudo class, which is used to define a special state of an element. And since we're talking about CSS, it's different styles. And here are some of the things that it can do, which is when a user mouses over something, it may change the text or the color or whatever the developers put. Same thing with visited and unvisited links. Or when something is in focus. Basically what it means to be in focus is where the user is actually clicking on the screen. And there are a lot of different types of pseudo-class elements, pseudo-classes, and we're just going to go over a few of them. And I thought the best way to do that would be to look at the HTML and CSS in W3 schools, since they have good examples. And here are the different type of pseudo classes. So there's a lot of different types. Some of them we've used, like hover and link and just other things that are here. So the first one we're going to talk about is hover. And here is the HTML and CSS. And here's the 8 element, and it's basically saying once we hover, it will turn the background color to gold, which it does. And the next one will be focus. And so remember I said focus is when the user clicks on a certain area of the site. So for this one, it's got the 2 boxes, 2 inputs, and it's saying if we click on the first one, it'll have the red text, and then the second one will have the blue text. So that's pretty cool. This one is valid, and the valid selector selects from elements with the value that validates according to the element's settings. The valid selector only works for form elements with limitations, such as input elements with min and max attributes, email fields with a legal email, or number fields with a numeric value, and so on. So for this example, when it's valid, it'll have the background color of yellow. And it's saying if you type in something else, the styling will disappear. So if I just add apostrophe, it goes away. And just a little side note, this valid selector is not supported in Internet Explorer 9 and earlier versions. The next one we're going to talk about is out of range. And for this one, we're just doing a placeholder with different numbers. The minimum value is 1, the max is 10. And there will also be some content saying your value is. And here's the CSS. And the colors will change based on the content. So as you can see, this is out of range. And the color changed as well as the text. And if I go down to, say, 10, color changes again, and so does the text, saying it is okay. Here is placeholder. And what this one is basically saying kind of what I just did right there. Since I erased it, it went back to its original setting, having type in the box. So once the user starts typing in, it'll go away. So that's kind of nice for people to understand what text box they're in. Okay, and now we are going to talk about pseudo elements. A pseudo element is used to style specified parts of an element. It can be used to style letters, lines, before and after content. And we've actually done a little bit in our class already. So we're going to talk about nth child, nth of type, and first of type. So the first one being nth child, it matches every element that is the nth child regardless of type of its parent. It can be a number, a keyword, or a formula. So first we're going to try this one, which is basically saying here for the paragraphs, the first one I'm going to make red. We can also make it something else like the third paragraph, and that's what will show up. This is also another example of nth child, but it is different in saying odd and even. So odds are red, evens are yellow. Same thing, it's just doing the style of the paragraphs. This last one is formula. And so basically, seems a little confusing, but here's all your paragraphs. This is our formula. So basically written out is saying take every third paragraph and make it red. And so we could change it to like the second one, changes to the seconds. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the nth type, which is basically the same thing, but you can apply it to multiple lines. So this one, you didn't have to type in the numbers or anything. It's just saying every odd line, make red, every even, make yellow. Like we could even add an extra paragraph. Run it, and same thing. So now we are going to talk about first of type, which selects matches of every element that is the first child of a particular type of its parent. It is the same of nth of type 1. So this one, same thing, it's just going to be saying, okay, paragraphs, the first paragraph will be red and it will be italic. And there is another example here saying the first letter and changing its content as well. So it's kind of just a nice and easy way to change the first letter of paragraphs to make it a little bit easier to read and styling. And that is just a little bit more about those. And here is my works cited page. Thank you. I hope you learned something.